Okay, so over here at the router table is where we're going to do our joinery. Joinery just means how the wood is put together so that it remains strong and will last. So on the prototype that I did, the joinery that I used is called box joints or finger joints. And these were cut at the table saw with a wide blade, which is called a dado. So the dado blade, it was a ½ inch wide, and every single one of these notches was cut on the table saw, and it creates a really strong interlocking wood joint. But the problem is when we're mass producing it, this would have taken a ton of time to cut at the table saw. So instead, to join our pieces together, we're going to use what's called a rabbet joint. And not the animal, but the woodworking term rabbet is R-A-B-B-E-T. This is an example of a rabbet joint cut on the end of one of our parts. It is 1/4 inch deep, which is half the thickness. Upside down, and then we have the bit, which is in this case a rabbeting bit, installed into the router. So it's set up so that the router bit sticks up 1/4 inch above the table, and the distance between the bit and the fence is 1/2 inch. And then we have our fence, and we have our miter gauge. Okay, so what's going to happen when we run this piece through? We're going to have the end against the fence, and we're going to hold it tight to the miter gauge. And as we run this piece across, it's going to cut that notch on each individual piece. We also have our dust collection set up right to it, so it's going to be sucking away all the dust that we create in the process. So I'm going to go ahead with this. Bit of roughness here, the little bit of wood splintering out, and that'll be your job to sand that and get rid of that so that we have a nice clean joint when we put the two pieces together. Okay, so I'm going to get going on this whole pile here, and you'll see that in the time lapse. All right.